Hey everyone, so here is basically a speed run of my project because my original one was 13 minutes and I am not subjecting you to that. So basically we live in Northeast Ohio and Northeast Ohio can be really cold and really hot at times. So most animals, pretty hardy here. Same goes for plants because we live in a deciduous forest. And that basically means all of our trees are wide-leaved and they shed their leaves in the winter so that way their stoma doesn't take all the water out of the tree, and they just store energy throughout the year so that way they're able to live. On the topic of trees, I'm going to talk about the black gum. The black gum is a tree native to most parts of North America, but are commonly seen within swampy areas. Now, like most trees in this area, they are a deciduous tree, and they are most commonly eaten by deer whenever they're young and still growing. Moving on from that, we have fork moss. Now, fork moss is not really eaten by very many things within our area, but it's good for just covering the ground, and it also doesn't have a very deep root system. So it grows on basically anything, including rocks and stuff like that. And it's most commonly eaten by birds, if eaten by anything. Sensitive fern. Now, sensitive ferns are most popular within the gardening community because they're able to live in low shade and are very hardy plants. Since they're so hardy, they can live basically anywhere, and they also aren't eaten by very many things, but they're just really pretty. And I also really, really like them. Moving on from that plant, we can move on to skunk cabbage. Now, skunk cabbage is very smelly if it is harmed, so I suggest not kicking it. Also, do not eat it. You will get a stomachache, and it will not end pretty. They are most commonly eaten, again, by deer, since deer are herbivores. And they grow just about anywhere in swampy areas in North America. The last of all of these plants, but certainly not least, is the bulbous bittercrest. Bulbous bittercrests are most commonly found within the mid-swampy areas of the U.S. and are known for their little white flowers. This is the only plant out of all of these plants that is technically edible with its leaves. It is most commonly snacked on by deer, and overall a very pretty little flower for this area that is not known for pretty little flowers. They are not so good for attracting pollinators, but any flowers is good for a pollinator in general. And overall, I have to say this is one of my favorite little flowers that we have within this area. Overall, all of these plants help contribute to our environment because they not only fuel the animals that live within it, they also contribute to the soil, which again contributes to more plants, and it's just a big cycle all around that's all fueled by the sun, which is a really big abiotic factor within this area. Moving on from plants, in the beginning of my abiotic factor section, we move on to the animals. The first animal we will be starting off with would be the bottom of the food chain whenever it comes to a food pyramid, which is a cottontail rabbit. Cottontail rabbits are herbivores, and they're also crepuscular, which means they're most active from dawn to dusk. They are found all throughout North America, but are most commonly found in the Midwest of the U.S. Their breeding season is March to August and September, and they mostly keep their young in nests. Their main diet is small clovers and grasses and anything you imagine a rabbit would eat. And in turn, they help keep these populations in control so they don't overgrow themselves. And they also help fertilize the land with their waste, which also in turn helps spread these plants everywhere because the seeds are passed through their waste. Moving on to something that's more commonly called a pest would be field mice. Field mice are most commonly seen within North America, of course, and they are most often seen by people, at least during the winter, whenever they're trying to break into our houses and steal all of our food. They are active all year round, and they are omnivores, so that means they eat just about anything. Their main diet mostly consists of plants, but they have been known to snack on other small mammals, worms, snails, all that good stuff. They help the environment by eating berries and anything with seeds in it, and then spreading that around with their waste. And they also act as a good food source for other animals higher on the food pyramid. Moving on to something that's more commonly seen by everyone here is the cardinal. Cardinals are also native to every part of North America, and they are most known for their male counterparts since they are bright red. These animals also stay all throughout the year within Ohio as they do tough out the winter. These birds are mostly built for nutcracking, as you can see in their beaks, but they do occasionally eat snails and small insects, including worms and stuff like that. They are most commonly seen within my area on the electrical lines, which is an abiotic factor within my environment, and early in the morning because that's whenever they feed. Now, they mostly eat nuts and grasses and small insects. By eating these nuts, they help spread them everywhere and makes new plants and helps, at least on the insect side, control their populations so they don't get too large. Finally, getting on to the predators within this make-believe food web that we have going on is my two cats, Ollie and True. Ollie and True are domestic short-haired cats, American domestic short-haired cats, which is just a fancy word for saying they're cat mutts. They are known for eating just about anything they can fit into their mouth, but besides this, they are obligate carnivores. True has been most known for eating pretty much everything on this list. Once I saw him tag team a rabbit with my dog, and anything, including grass, Ollie will eat, but their main diet is mostly the cat food that they get. They are indoor-outdoor cats, so it means they live both indoors and outdoors depending on how they feel, and they help keep the whole environment in control by just keeping the mice population down, which is very large within my area. The last main predator within my biome is my dog Bo. He's a dachshund and golden retriever mix, along with a couple of other things. So he is once again a mutt, but I love him very much. He mostly eats baby bunnies, dog food, table scraps, and once again, anything he can fit into his mouth because he is not very bright. He doesn't really do much for my environment, but he is known as the community dog, so he's, once again, moral support, and he also helps keep the very large rat population I have around me in check, so that way they don't eat food like cherry tomatoes that me and my dad grow in the summer, so that way they stay and we have a source of food that we grow on our own. The last little thing I'd like to mention is the rest of the abiotic factors within my community, which would happen to be my road, which many types of mosses and trees like to grow on because it's not very well maintained. Water, which fuels the plants and the people because we need water to live and plants need water to live to do photosynthesis, and we need it to keep our bodies hydrated so we can do all of our systems. And then the last thing would be dead plants, animals, and trees that happen to be living because then those decompose or act as serving systems for other animals so that way they can have babies and overall just benefits everyone. That's the end of my project.